So namaste, welcome to Satsang this evening here in the UK. So there's from what I've been hearing and experiencing, there's a lot of disturbance in the force today. It seems to have been one of those days, you know, where, so if you've had one of those days, you're in good company. And as always, we do our best to use those turbulent times to deepen our seeing, our satsang, as best we can, with no or with less or no self-blame or judgment. If you got lost in something today in your mind, it's okay, isn't it? It's not the desired outcome for you. Obviously, you want to feel better. You don't want to feel bad. You don't want to believe thoughts. But let's just see if we can leave, if you've had one of those days, or maybe your day's just starting. Let's see if we can just start afresh from here today, now. So I thought it might be nice to do a meditation today, just to kind of immerse us deeper into some nice quietness and peace and love. And we had something sent in, a comment question sent in, which is a perfect segue into this, really. So I'll read this one out, and then we'll go about answering it, exploring an answer to it, and see where that takes us. It says, "Dear Helen, I wish to really thank you for the stable peace within me, even though my outside world isn't." I'm reading the wrong one. Hang on, I'll come back to that one. Okay. Let me try that one again. Okay, maybe it's not supposed to. Okay. Okay, I was reading the right one. It's going really well tonight, isn't it? I wish to really thank you for the stable peace within me, even though my outside world isn't. I notice an immense spaciousness in me practicing your teachings. I'm curious to go deeper into it. I feel I am always here and want to know what's really in the depths. Patiently waiting to be there, or is it always only here? Not wanting to grasp at it, but simultaneously feel like it's so subtle and slips out unnoticed. Being devoted and very attentive are my major drawbacks. Wanted to share this with you. Love you. Love you too. And let's just start by, I just really want to, you said there, being devoted and very attentive are my major drawbacks. I don't think so. I'd have to disagree with that. I used to feel the same about myself, and realized actually without that devotion to, not to any particular being, but to the truth, that devotion to the truth, I would not be able to stay focused on what is most important long enough. It's a quality that every successful seeker who's realized the truth has had in abundance. Almost obsession. In fact, I've used the word obsession about my own, still that way now, not really. In fact, probably more obsessed now than I was when I was trying to wake up, obsessed with truth, devoted, very attentive as well, as in developing that ability that perhaps we don't have at first when we start out on the path, but it does come over time. A few lucky beings seem to have it straight away, but the ability to just laser-like attention on something and not let it go. Have you ever seen a my sister used to have a beautiful, big Belgian Shepherd, and he had one of these toys, you know, that she'd pull this toy. And once he got a hold of it, he would not let go. You know, she'd pull and pull and pull, and he loved it, and he'd pull and pull. And the thing was splitting in two, all the stitching was coming, and he loved it, but he would not let go because he knew what he wanted, and he was having, you know, a lot of fun. And it always reminded me of the spiritual, there's a lot of things in everyday life that are really good metaphors for that. And when my sister was like starting to gain the upper hand, he'd start shaking his head and try and wrestle it out of a grip. And most times he succeeded. And that's what we're doing here, right? When it gets tough, like apparently today has been for a lot of beings, we have to kind of get a little feisty with it, and being very attentive and devoted are very good qualities, I think. And maybe you can accept those within yourself. You wouldn't be in satsang, in awakening itself, without that. Even if we don't know we're looking for truth to start off with, we know we're looking for something, looking for happiness, joy, something. And we might want to seek out in an outer way, looking for something in the outside world. But that obsessive, devoted quality, we're using it anyway. We might as well just find the healthiest place to put it. And that's what this really is. It's a good thing to celebrate. So I'm glad you found some peace. And it's always exciting when somebody sends something in like this, because to me, when you you get this curiosity to go deeper or to explore more, it's changing this kind of forward-seeking momentum or drive of the egoic sense of self is starting to, instead of trying to move towards some future moment, this is the dissolving of the ego for me, is starting to actually turn into this moment. Instead of trying to get somewhere, it's like, maybe there's more here. Maybe here and now is more satisfying than I've noticed. Maybe there's more in this moment. What I'm been heading over there for, towards some future moment, is actually present here. If I can slow down a little bit and access what's already here, and notice that I'm assuming that what I'm experiencing right now is all there is about this moment. When I really got that there's an infinite deepening. And of course, you can't really deepen when you're already it. But your mind and body can deepen in the experience of what you already are. And that will happen every single day if you let it. If you never decide that you've reached an end point, or if you do decide, you let that go and you start exploring and you become curious again. And I got stuck in that too. Like, I think I've reached somewhere. And there was a lot of peace and a lot of joy coming, but still there was this tension and tightness in the body whenever I decided that I had found some destination or something. So it was like a real discovery of the joy of curiosity. And what that seeking energy can do, and did do for me, was kind of stop going outwards, and it really turned softly, gently into a discovery, a deeper recognition and exploration of what's happening here right now in this moment. So that's what I feel we should do right now, is just take that beautiful devotion to truth and that attentiveness and just turn it to what's here. And we can start with this. You've said, I feel I'm always here and want to know what's really in the depths. And you can get a sense of it, right? You'd be sitting in the peace in some of my meditations, and there would just be this sense that there is so much more than I'm almost like I can see the depths of this ocean, right down at the bottom where it's really quiet, totally still, far removed from all the chaos on the surface, which you could look at on the surface, there's all these little boats skimming around and, representing the thoughts. And under the surface, it gets quieter and quieter and quieter. Just so peaceful. And there was an urge at one point that you're expressing here really well to just sink deeper into that, to just head downwards, for want of a better word. Not to more, because there isn't more. There's just a fuller experience of what's already here. So we're not seeking anything. Got already the depths are there. We're just allowing our mind and body to kind of bathe in it more. So it is always and only here. There is no deepening, as you said. And there's also a deepening for the mind and the body, a progression and evolution, a richness that never stops giving more each day. And you can explore that infinitely. Today, there was more peace for me than there has been yesterday. And tomorrow, if I'm open again, there'll be even more peace. Why? Because it's infinite. And we get to experience and know the immensity of what already is, as you said, but also experience the unfoldingness and the diving deeper into that. So we get to do both in a way, to experience the unfolding gradually without trying to get anywhere is the most beautiful thing. When you know you're already this, there's already peace. So you're diving deeper isn't coming from a sense of lack. You're not trying to find something that's absent. It's here. You're just deeply curious about what else there is to this. So shall we dive into this together if you want to? We can just start with a simple question, and we can call it a meditation. We can call it self-inquiry. There's a very fine line between them. Let's just see what's really here in this moment. Let's start from the understanding that we might not be experiencing all that there is of this moment. If we're lost in thoughts, or we've had a busy day, we're at the end of the day here in the UK, and might have been moving around all day doing stuff. There's a tendency to believe that what we're experiencing is the fullness of this moment. But what if it isn't? What if there's more? Not from a sense of lack, just I would like to dive deeper. Maybe there's more silence. Maybe there's more immensity of peace. So we're just going to soften, and we're going to open, and we're going to relax, and we're going to be curious. We're not going to try or effort. We're just going to really show up for this moment with a deep curiosity, as if you've never been in the room that you're sitting in before. Can you do that with me? Can you pretend that it's your first time in Satsang, that it's your first time in the room that you're sitting in, that it's the first time in this body, and just really like to know what this moment is. Whatever I'm feeling in this moment, is there more? Can I allow an unfolding? Is there anything else about this moment? Could I be missing out? And I'm curious. I'm open. I'm willing. I'm receptive. I'm quiet. Even if my mind isn't, I'm quiet enough to be open. I don't need my mind to calm down. I just need to relax. Let the mind do its thing. It's on the surface, and we're just sinking down through the emotions. We're noticing sensations going on. Whatever your eyes are looking at, whatever objects are in the room, hearing these words, any other sounds. Just being present in this moment. Not getting anywhere. We're not swimming across the ocean. We're lowering ourselves gently down on this platform deeper into the still depths. Using this question, or any question that you like. What really is this moment? Just a softness, the gentlest of intentions, the faintest whiff of desire. I'd like to dive deeper. And that's enough, just to like to, just to be curious, just to what if. No struggle, no effort. What really is this moment? Is there more? And whatever we experience, we can softly say a thank you and then see if there's more. I'm just open. I'd like to experience reality. I'd like to immerse myself in the fullness. I'd like to bathe my mind and body in the richness that I am. I'm curious. What is this? How still does this get? How quiet? Just softly open. Is there anything else about this moment that we can experience? Just the faintest question. We launch it and we let it go. Effortless. We might notice certain thoughts, insights, emotions on the way past, down the depths of this moment. Just let them be, remaining as open as you can. What is reality? We're just deeply quiet and curious. We are a blank canvas. What else is there to experience about this moment? Have we seen it all? Could it really be infinitely deepening? And the surface might be so far away. Whatever's going on the surface is just going on. It'll take care of itself. It's quiet and still. Invoking this openness. What else is here? I am open to experience everything about this moment. It's just quietness here. Still, even here, in this immensity of silence, we're still open. We're curious. You won't close even here. inviting, invoking, receiving, allowing. Diving deeper, opening to more peace, more silence, fullness. There's no work to do here. Just open, curious, gentle. What is this moment? There is this current always flowing down into more peace. And we're just surrendering into that current, quiet ocean of stillness. Seems very turbulent on the surface. So we take refuge here in the depths. Softest intention to explore, to discover. Just falling in love with this. Enjoying discovery. Let's just take a few more minutes and dive just a little bit further if you want to. We don't ever have to come back from here. Allow the surface to move. Stay here. Rooted here, grounded. Swimming in silence and stillness and peace. Allowing the waves on the surface to move. Emotions, thoughts, sensations. And just being this ocean of stillness. So if you want to open your eyes, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. let's see if we can remain as this ocean of stillness while the words and the interaction of questions and answers continues. Let's see if we can be the answer to this question. What is this moment? Can you live your life from this place? Absolutely. That devotion, that commitment to diving deeper into the depths of your being every single day, knowing that the richness and the fullness is infinite. Every time you feel it cannot get better than this, it does. And every time you feel I just can't handle all this peace, silence, and bliss, you do. It's a nice problem to have, isn't it? So I'll read a couple more questions. If anyone wants to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand. We'll take up to 4 questions online or sharings. Find my questions now. So this one says, hi Helen, wanting to know how you would deal with a fear of being buried alive after falling in a hole in a past life. Thank you very much for your inspired lessons. So wanting to know how you would deal with a fear of being buried alive after falling in a hole in a past life. So whether it's from something that's happened to this body or a previous body in the seeming separate beingness, whether we're calling it this life or past life, there's really one common thread that runs throughout all of those, and those are the ideas that we take with us from one body to another, that we imbue each body and mind with. So fear, no matter what the fear is of, it is nonetheless fear, and it comes from the root of all fear is the same, that something is going to happen to me that is outside my control and cause me to cease to exist at some point. All fear comes down to that. Even if it's fear of death, I will feel the reason we all fear death is because we fear this ending of existence that we think comes with death. So the fear manifested itself in that way in that lifetime. But nonetheless, it is this same core belief that you're not safe, that you're not the epitome, the essence, the home, the source of safety, that you are someone that has to find their way to safety, to find your way back to the self from the separate being that we think we are. So if you look at what this fear is about, it's obviously fear of dying, being buried alive is also, well, I've never knowingly experienced it. I should imagine it's absolutely terrifying. And large sense of being out of control, of course, and all of those things. So those are the questions you can ask. Are you really unsafe, actually? And the reason that these things persist after a deeper seeing is because they might even come to the surface more after a deeper seeing of what you really are, is because there's a misunderstanding that happens For me, there was a sense of I am safe, me, formless reality. I am safe. Nothing can hurt me because I'm insubstantial. You can't push me out of the way. You can't hit me. You can't do anything at all to damage me. But my body, nonetheless, remains vulnerable. There was this fear still afterwards. And it took me a little while to realize that one of the perks, so to speak, or the outcomes of being awake to what you really are, is that recognition, that presence, that compassionate, loving essence that is our real, that silence and stillness we were just exploring. Its very nature is enveloping the body in this protective bubble, for want of a better word. So you'll find it very, very hard. The clearer you've seen what you really are, you'll find it very, very increasingly more difficult to have an accident or to bump into something or to stub your toe on the door or all of those things, from the small things up to the big things like you're talking about here. So really questioning the ideas that come up, being willing to look at it. What is so terrifying about this? Well, first, I might die. And secondly, I feel really, really out of control. I mean, you'll have your own words that go with that, right? When you ask that question of yourself, what are the core feelings, the beliefs that come up with that? For me, whether it's fear of spiders or fear of, for me, it was fear of money and fear of not having enough money, fear of spiders, fear of driving on icy roads, fear of being burnt at the stake. That's a whole different lifetime. Fear of, I could go on indefinitely. And of course, the fear of death. But they all came back to this one core feeling that I was a separate being. And at some point, something could happen to cause my existence to end. That's the root of all of it, isn't it, underneath there? So that would be what I would really spend some time questioning. Just because it happened in a different body doesn't make it any more difficult to deal with now in your contemplation, in your inquiry. We tend to give these these past life things. I know I did this, quality, but they're still playing out right now today. So whatever a situation you encounter where there's fear today, this is the same fear, same belief playing out in this body, mind, vehicle. So hope that helps. I'll just read one more, then I'll come to you, Melanie. I have a question about feeling. I have a broken heart from not feeling loved by my mother as a child, and also marrying the wrong man later on in life because of going with my head instead of my heart, even though the man was a very nice person. How would you begin to mend this idea of a broken heart and not being able to feel love? So most of us experience this kind of journey, don't we, from absolutely feeling unloved and perhaps unlovable, and our experiences have really verified and validated that this is true. I am not capable of loving myself, and everyone else around me isn't, won't, can't give me the love that I'm looking for. So I'm feeling this broken heart because I didn't get what I felt I needed. And of course, everyone could point to something in their own childhood, perhaps adolescence, adulthood, or several things that we don't feel we received that we needed. And because of that, we learn to mistrust ourselves. We get this idea, or perhaps truer said, this idea is there right from the get-go, carried in from a previous body-mind vehicle, that there's something wrong with us. And because of that, we're not allowing ourselves to experience the fullness of love. If you feel on some deep down level, not consciously, although maybe it's conscious too, that there's something fundamentally wrong with you, something to be ashamed of, something that if everybody really knew you, they wouldn't like you, something like that. If that's how you feel deep down, like I did for a very long time, of course, you're not going to be able to open up and let someone really love you. Of course, you're not going to be able to let anyone get close to you even, most especially yourself. So for me, again, it had to come down to questioning these ideas. Is there actually anything wrong with me? As we've just experienced this, what the depths, what the stillness, the silence really is. To whatever degree we experienced it during that inquiry, meditation, whatever it was. That's what we really are. And from perfection comes perfection only. There can't be imperfection arising out of perfection. The perfect stillness and silence, the loving presence of reality, does not give birth to faulty, flawed human minds and bodies. It gives birth to thoughts about being flawed, but not to actual imperfection. There's a huge difference there. As you learn to fall in love with yourself, you'll be completely led by your heart. You won't be able to make a decision from your head. Your mind will say, go this way, and you go, no, I'm going this way. This way is where the love and the fun and the joy is. And not because mind's wrong, just because mind can't really dive. It's on the surface of the ocean. It can't go down here with us. So as you're learning to question your own stories, then you'll find that the type of person that you encounter and the way that people are with you that you already know will begin to change. People are going to be able to love you when you do. And I know that's a cliche, but it's nonetheless true. Bless you. It's one of the hardest things to love ourselves until we're ready, and then it's easy. Like, I'm done with telling stories about myself, and I'm diving deeper into the fullness. I see and I feel how completely already absolutely okay I really am as reality itself. I refuse to let thoughts diminish the expression of that perfection. Nothing imperfect can arise out of something perfect. I don't mean perfect as in our mind's idea. I mean perfect as in absolutely it is already 100% this, whatever this is. Right now, reality looks like this, right? Showing up like this. And it's doing it with everything it's got. Doesn't know how to half-ass anything. Most of all, it can't half-ass a mind and body. It's a perfect sculpture made out of itself, for itself, by itself. Sculpted out of love. So when you're more willing to see that than you are to believe your stories about yourself, everyone else can love you too. And here's something, those beings that we were looking for, looking to give us those things we needed, our parents, our siblings, our the people that made an impression upon us as children. They couldn't really give us what we needed or wanted from them because they didn't have it for themselves either. They hadn't figured out how to let that flow from the inside out. They were also trying to get it from us, and we couldn't give it to them either. Human beings have some extraordinarily complex ways of going about looking for love. So the blame and the forgiveness begin to change then. The blame begins to disappear and the forgiveness. They can't give you what they don't have. They don't even know you. They've never met you. They've met what they think about you. You've met what you think about them. At the core, at the depths, everyone is this ocean of stillness. And the more that we can recognize that everyone's running on empty, everyone's starved of love and value and self-respect until they're not. It's not that people won't give you what you need from them. They can't. So hope that helps you to begin to understanding. You have to begin to feel and understand why you haven't let yourself, let this love flow as yourself first. It's always to do with stories, isn't it? Always comes down to that. So we'll go to Melanie. You're muted there, Melanie.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
You know, I loved going to the ocean of stillness. But to me, that's like contacting awareness, or the self with a capital S. So I can't imagine if I'm contacting the self, how could I go even have more of the self? Like, how can, I didn't really understand you could go deeper and deeper. If I'm contacting the self, how can I have more of the self or something by going down and down? I don't know. You know what I mean? If I'm experiencing peace, how can there be more if I'm already experiencing it?
Because it is what you already are. So the softness of the intention, the gentleness that we were kind of practicing is more a surrender, a way of opening to what's already here. As if you're standing behind a wall, you're standing in front of a wall, and behind this wall is infinity. And, you know, just an ocean of love and everything you could ever want behind this wall. And there's this tiny little hole in the wall, tiny. And we've been sort of peeking through, looking at it. So all we're kind of doing is just chipping away the hole in this wall, making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually the wall disappears. So most of us are, and I was, so busy trying to break down the wall. And every time I've tried to break it down, my mind's adding bricks on the top and making it thicker and, you know, fortifying it. So there's already a little pinhole into what's there. And we're just relaxing. And as we relax, we find naturally mind goes quiet and we're just able to experience what's already here, what we already are. And the mind and body can feel that even more intensely. Does that kind of help to put it in a context you can work with?
Right. And as I relax, that little pinhole gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but if you stick a screwdriver, a spanner in there and try to open it, it closes up. Mm-hmm. It seems the logical thing to do, right?
Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm glad you asked that. I'm sure it's very helpful. Thank you. Christine?
Hi, Helen.
Hi.
Yeah, that was really profound for me. I don't think I'd ever experienced the depth. Firstly, the gentleness of the curiosity. Mm-hmm. I think there's always been a lot of push. Yeah. You know, I haven't quite got how. So that was really helpful, the way you explained that.
It's a new skill to us, isn't it? It's an old skill that we've forgotten, maybe. Is it? We're just not used to relaxing into something. We were used to trying to get to something. So it's just a practicing of that, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And remembering to say thank you every time a new little contraction arose. So I feel like, for the first time, I actually felt a sense of safety. I kind of got deep enough to feel a slight sense of safety and a kind of gentle kindness. Yeah. In the depths. Normally it's been just really neutral. yeah, so that was new for me, and coming on top of so yesterday morning I had that first time seeing that momentarily that I wasn't the doer. And then anxiety came up big time all day.
To see if you try
And
to do something with it, right?
maybe, I don't know, I just got up from the meditation and started running.
That's fine. The body does what it does.
It does what it does, but it was anxiety running.
Mm-hmm.
It was the body doing its anxious thing. And the tension got worse and worse and worse. And so, yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that process of, I know that you've already explained it again and again probably, but that when we have a deeper seeing, and then it seems like comes up even stronger, as you were saying at the beginning, that the contraction comes up even stronger.
Yeah.
And I mean, yesterday I could see it happening, but I couldn't kind of even remember what to do for a while. And then I started doing some deep breathing, but
Is that a bad thing?
it seemed too much, you know. It was, why does it come up so strong that it's almost too much to manage? So I kind of go totally unconscious.
Almost too much to manage, and I couldn't remember what to do. Those are hallmarks of the awakened state. I can't even be bothered to manage this. I can't form a strategy and remember what to do with this in this moment. I just don't have a strategy.
Yeah, I did not.
I just have to experience this in its intensity, in its immensity. And we look at that as a bad thing. Like I ran out of tactics. I ran out of strategies. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even remember anything I've heard in Satsang. It was just all gone at that point.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? Or is that the effortlessness, the non-doingness beginning to surface? Like, I don't want to, on some level, I don't want to try to handle this. I want to just go through it. As awful as it might be, I just want to go through it.
So even though, because here's where my judgment comes in, I got a migraine.
Yeah.
And ended up having to take some medication later in the day. I mean, I kind of handled it all day. But then my judgment is I got a migraine, so that means I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. So can you see that right there, that what's it like to go through that with no strategy? If it just lasted as long as it lasted, and maybe a question surfaces, is it really true I'm suffering? Or maybe something comes in the mind, some self-inquiry question, or maybe the body sits and meditates, maybe it goes running, whatever it does. But all of that's just happening along with the anxiety. So you don't have to know what to do with it. Maybe that is the tension itself. I need to know what to do with this. And if I don't know, or I do the wrong thing, I end up, in a state.
Yeah, I'm not worthy because I don't know.
Yeah. So
yeah.
can you look at that as an actual success, really? I had less of an ability to actually find a way through it. The separate someone that would analyze and criticize and formalize and all the other things it does about how you handle this, what you do with it, and what you didn't do with it. that might start up again afterwards, but actually during it, there was, and that's what's so immediate about physical pain. Most times we just can't have a strategy. It's very immediate.
Mm.
It really demands your attention in that present moment, doesn't it? You can't really, a mind will try, of course, but could this be an actual success? And it doesn't feel like a success, but the experience will stop happening when you can just allow it to play, because then it will have shown you everything it wants to. It wants to give you this gift of just recognizing that I don't have to know how to get through this. That's that difficult grace, isn't it? In the moments where you go through something terrible, where you've just no way, no strategy, no way to even think about, you lose a loved one, or you in an accident, a car accident, or whatever happens, something that just takes your life and moves it over here. You've just got no way to cope with something like that. Afterwards, we put ourselves back together and start strategizing again. But here, we didn't strategize or plan how to get into that silent, safe stillness tonight. We just kind of, well, this morning for you, we just kind of didn't do anything specific, and we just sank into that, didn't we?
Yeah.
So then life gives you an opportunity to apply that in an everyday situation. I'm running late for work. I can't get to this road's closed, there's traffic there. What am I going to do? I'll just start driving and see what happens. I'll put the sat nav on and stuff in case there's a faster route. I'm not gonna avoid the technology that can be helpful, but I don't have to know what I'm going to do when I get in the car. It's a different way of living, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. That's pain
and things like that in the body, migraine, any kind of physical pain and physical stuff going on. It's very immediate in its lesson for us, that the more we try to manage it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Has the opposite effect, really.
Yeah.
It's always the opposite to what mind says has happened. Mind says you really screwed this one up. You went through this disgracefully, suffering all the way, having a tantrum, never eventually got to the end, took some medication and finally came out the other side, but maybe mind's wrong about that.
I can really feel a lot of relaxation, as you say, that. Yeah.
Because you felt that safety, that place where everything is absolutely already okay. You touched into that maybe for the first time. And there's no urge to try to do anything about anything there spiritually.
No.
The body does what it does. Eventually you can walk around like that and run for a bus like that, or whatever you need to do. You're just showing up.
Yeah.
And it starts to emerge in the waking state in these situations. But mind freaks out and says, you're doing this, you forgot everything you learned. Well, good. Good, really good.
Okay. Fabulous. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
It's only useful, all this stuff, until you can let go of it, right? You forget that too then.
Yeah. So that's part of the not knowing.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this thing that's terrible, and my mind is sure I have to know. Because we've tried every which way, haven't we, to navigate through them, and none of it works, and they all make it worse. The more awakened you get, the more you try to fix this thing that's happening, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
You can feel your body's like, oh, do just kind of chill out spiritually. Don't try so hard. Your body's like,
yeah. Oh, wonderful. I love it. Thank you.
it's again, it's a different skill. We're so used to trying. I have to know, and to not know is going to be absolute failure, devastation.
Yes. Yes, it's a polar opposite, really, isn't it?
Yeah, when I go to bed tonight, I'll have no clue how I got through today. That sounds a negative thing, but you know, it's actually quite nice. I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow. I mean, I know what's on the calendar, but I'll just wing my way through it completely through life.
Yeah.
These intense moments of suffering are there to kind of really, really hammer that home, right? You can't do anything with this.
Yeah, yeah. I feel a sense of that happening in my life. My external life is quite unstructured these days. You know, I don't have a lot of work. I can't seem to make myself get.
There it is again.
Yeah, I'm. There's some kind of relaxation. There's still some money worry.
You should do something.
Kind of,
you need to do something. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, but it's faint. It's not so. It's not. I can't seem to act on it.
Yeah.
Hardly at all. It's just.
Mine's hitting the big red panic button, going, "Oh, we're going to be in trouble." But you'll see, the more you relax into that, the more it can just come in, because it's our doingness that's been this energetic barrier that stops all the goodies coming in. You know, the love and
Yeah, and it stopped because I was doing that at the end of last year with my craft work, and some money did come in. I also felt like I just burnt my creativity out at the time, and it just did not work.
Yeah.
So
the creativity, it'll reemerge. It will just come from the effortless place.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, it will in its own time, because and you won't run out of anything in between now and then. Because mine doesn't believe that, and that's okay. But you've got this far, haven't you, with the already, without the, you know, as the fullness of who you really are, that feeling of safety, that feeling of not even safety, that you could never even be unsafe. Everything is just absolutely okay. You get a sense of it, a taste of it. And you get that just comes more and more often. And then love comes with that, and then joy. And then you're just kind of vibrating. Everything's absolutely okay, even when your mind's sure it's not. And then, of course, reality, your outer experience has to agree that, yeah, everything's absolutely okay. Here's some more stuff, you know, just to make sure you're really okay, have some more stuff.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that all coming to fruition bit by bit. Yeah.
Noticing how it's happening now already.
Yes, it is happening now.
You're surviving financially, and you're efforting less.
Yes.
Before, we were just kind of surviving financially and efforting a lot.
Yes.
So we're efforting less, and we're having more fun doing that, a bit more relaxed. It might not be our dream life just yet, but it is already starting. And as you relax into that, I'd like to have even more fun and do even less work, or do something that doesn't even feel like work.
Yes.
And you know, that you get a sense of it.
Beautiful, it really does. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Wonderful. We'll finish with Lena.
Hello, dear Helen.
Hi.
Such a wonderful conversation with I don't know. I just started to get it because all my life I'm a questioner on the questioner side. But still, so let's accept my question as a curiosity on a lighter side. So on one meeting, on one Sangha, we were chatting and I was talking about soul evolution, because I believe that we are manifestation of who we are.
Mhm.
And if we take, for example, right now we are living, not living better, but we are more human if compare when we were in medieval time or even go further in Stone Age. It was a very harsh life.
Yes.
So it means soul evolution exists. Then how about time? And there's somebody from Sangha said, but time doesn't exist. And I was confused. I even went on your extra class. I found special time and I watched it when you said that we are everywhere. You showed the piece of paper. It was very, very helpful. But now I'm actually even more confused. If time doesn't exist, how's about we are different? Obviously, can you clarify, please?
This one got me. I mean, it was clear when I was experiencing myself that there's no time, no change, no evolution. There's just this, and it's absolutely already 100% here. There's no progress in that. And then when I looked at my life and my body and my mind, there seemed to absolutely be a sense of time and change and evolution. And as you said, the human species is evolving as it, even if you look at a plant, that there's an evolutionary thing unfolding. It grows towards the light and, you know, all of that. So I got really curious as to what was that. It couldn't actually be evolution and change, but it looked like it. So in the, if you imagine a cylinder of compressed gas, like let's say this gas inside this cylinder is green, and you puncture this cylinder, and the gas just starts shooting out and starts expanding to fill the room. And let's imagine for a second there were no walls on the room. It just kept expanding more and more and more. You know, it just kept going. And there was nothing ever to stop it. It just kept on infinitely in all directions expanding. The manifestation then is what we actually think is change and evolution, is really the deepening like we were experiencing today. When manifestation seems to change, all that's really happening is what's the highest thing that can manifest in any particular moment is showing up. So right now, these words that we're speaking are the highest version of this conversation we could have. And then in the very next moment, so now, there's an opportunity for an even higher level of conversation. And however much peace we're feeling, there's the ability in the next moment to feel even more peace. So manifestation is always expanding. The universe itself is expanding from this so-called Big Bang moment. It's just in expansion. That's all it can do. More. It wants to express itself fuller. So what already is expressing itself in even more fullness. So if we take a human being on the path to awakening, it looks like they're gradually changing, feeling less fear, feeling more peace, less shame, more joy. It looks like if you take two arbitrary points on a timeline, 20 years before awakening, I'm feeling anger, self-hatred, fear. 20 years after a deeper seeing, I'm feeling bliss and joy and peace. That looks like a big change has happened, but really it's a continuous spectrum where the highest possibility was unfolding. In each moment, the highest possibility is higher than the previous one. So it looks like as a human being, change and evolution. And you might have to kind of listen to this a couple of times to really let it sink in, but what it ends up looking like change. The moment we experience the manifestation, because we're experiencing this manifestation in this moment, whatever's possible in the next moment is even more amazing than this. And then we'll experience that, and then the next possibility is even more amazing than that. So when we allow that to happen without any thoughts Most of us keep experiencing our thoughts, so our experience goes like this, or very slowly like this. But in the awakened state, you're kind of going like this, because you're kind of in the awe and the wonder of what reality actually is. And then you're wide open for the highest manifestation. That's why miracles and synchronicities tend to happen around awakened beings, because all they can do is allow the highest thing that's possible. They don't have any other option. There's no thoughts through which they're forcing reality. So I've said a lot of things, but if you look at change and evolution and progress as really how it appears to be when you take 2 points on a timeline, I'll measure from here and here. It looks like change, but in reality, it's continuous. You can't really, it's just this continuous now. You can't ever really take 2 arbitrary points, although mind tries to again and again. How I am now and how I'd like myself to be, how my relationship is and how I'd like it to be, how it was before. It's always dividing time into segments, the appearance of time at least.
Wow, Helen. I need to listen again.
If you took a balloon, imagine a balloon that you could blow up, and you could keep on getting fuller and fuller and fuller. You keep blowing into it, and it just got bigger and bigger. It never popped ever. Same balloon, but it looks different. It's the same substance, but it looks different. It looks bigger all the time, right?
Also, while you're explaining, thank you so much. Some vision came to me. Is it correct how I understood? It's like if no time, right now in the perfect moment exists everything, higher and lower, and
Yes.
It's up to us where we are moving. But we are always in the moment, in now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The unmanifest silence is the field of infinite possibility, and it really is infinite. And the only thing it cannot do is repeat itself. So it cannot show up as this dialogue again. It would always have to be something even more amazing. So infinite possibilities in unmanifest. And then when it's coming through a mind and a body, it's got a range of things it can experience. Best experience and the worst experience. And these two are always going like this. And eventually in the awakened state, it goes like this. Right. So it's not going to make any sense if anyone's listening on the audio, sorry. There's all the awakened being can do is experience the top curve. And that can go up exponentially. What we tend to do is in the sense of separation, we experience the bottom, the worst case scenario. But even that's moving up slowly. All our fears and doubts are kind of showing up as our experience constantly. When you let go of thoughts, or you're questioning or contemplating, or you're just diving into the depths, you're automatically experiencing the highest thing. And that looks like, as that increases what's possible, your options are what are possible. That looks like change, doesn't it? Looks like evolution. But it's the same material manifestation being recycled over and over and over to an even better experience.
Okay, so there is no option, for example, to be reborn and be born in a medieval time or an ancient time. It's not the option. Of course, I don't want to, but
I quite like my hairdryer. Thanks very much. Yeah. And my kettle.
Yeah. Yeah, just a question.
It can't do what it's. That's the only thing, because it's infinite. Whatever it creates, or whatever manifestation appears, has to be something it hasn't done before.
Okay.
So, and because it's kind of very, very loosely, I don't even really like saying this, but on a exploration of discovering itself through the manifestation, it's looking for ever more complex forms, ever bigger brains, so that you can have this kind of dialogue, and then whatever comes after human beings, I'm sure there's millions of species in the galaxy, in the universe, that are more intelligent than us. It can have an even deeper understanding of itself than even we can, and so on and so on.
That's so great. And the last question, I kind of accidentally watched on YouTube, I believe Amazonian Aborigine bands, where people are still even sometimes can eat each other, not each other, the other band. And the other, I forgot that, not band, the name of group of Aborigines people. And I listened to them, and they are very ancient, but they do not, they remain the same. And I didn't notice the happiness in them. I didn't notice anything that I would say, oh, wow, they are actually really good. What is your opinion about them? Why is that still big difference?
I couldn't really comment on that because I don't really know. I haven't encountered that, but manifestation must be, even through and as a culture that doesn't seem to be changing, even on a human level, especially on a human level, the outer appearance of it might not be changing. As in, they might not be living in more complex houses, they might be living in very rudimentary ways, for example. But the deepening of the love and the connection and the commitment in the human relationships will be expanding. The amount of joy that they can experience, or peace that they could experience, not necessarily do, but could experience, will be expanding. It's always got to be expanding. It's either expanding in the way that we want it to, or the way that we don't want it to. And we get to choose. Of course, we don't realize that, but I don't really want to say too much about that because I don't really know that culture. I haven't really encountered them.
No, I mean, the people who still live in a forest and they do only hunting, and with very harsh life, where they don't have any progress and any progression.
Maybe that's their maybe that's their wish. Maybe that's their happiest life.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we any happier with all our technology and all that?
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah. Horses for courses, really, isn't it? Whatever suits each of us best. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will leave it there for today. Thank you, everyone. And let's just see if we can move into the rest of our day or evening in this open gentleness, this, as if the softest of intentions was enough to make it happen, as if all you had to do to feel more peace was just gently wish, gently intend. As if you're just writing it on a piece of paper and then screwing it up and throwing it away, because that's enough to make it happen. Let's see if we can play with that a while. Thank you. Namaste.